European Union citizens are going to be voting from the 6th of June to the 9th of June. They're choosing 720 members of the next European Parliament who will serve for 5 years. The campaign season for the election opened in France on Monday. The European Parliament is one of the 3 EU institutions that run the 27-nation bloc. Together with the EU governments, the Parliament decides on laws proposed by the European Commission which govern policies and the EU market of almost 450 million people. France's President Emmanuel Macron is in Germany for a 3-day visit, followed by a bilateral meeting. As the European Union's 2 biggest powers, they seek to show unity ahead of next month's EU parliamentary election. Along with German President, Macron laid a wreath at the Berlin Holocaust Memorial. Macron's trip is the first by a French president in 24 years. Macron warned against a slackening of support for Ukraine in its defense against Russia.
To
be on the side of peace today means giving strength to the law peace, but not capitulation. Peace is not an abandonment of principles. We have too often seen this confusion in collective debates. Peace means enabling a country to defend its borders and sovereignty. International law to build a lasting peace is the camp we have chosen, that of the law for the long term.
Well, and for more on this story, Ross Cullen is now joining us from Paris with an update. Ross, looking at the parliamentary election for Europe, how does this election affect, France's as well as Germany's internal politics?
Well, we're seeing at the moment Emmanuel Macron on that state visit, the first time in some 20 plus years that a French president is on an official state visit to Germany, welcomed by the German president, Frank-Walter Steinmeier. And they have got a lot on the agenda planned, but it is also being seen as a campaign event because Emmanuel Macron will be hoping to reach out to French and German young voters. He's going to make a speech in German a little bit later on, going to Dresden, spending time in Berlin, going to the Holocaust Memorial, a lunch as well with different personalities in Germany. So lots of campaigning as well and reinforcing that relationship, as you say, between the two countries that are seen as the European Union's engine, France and Germany, the 2 biggest economies in the European Union. Both of them are hoping that they will be able to survive the challenges to their parties in the European Union election from the far right, the AfD in Germany and the National Rally here in France. Both of those parties polling quite well ahead of the vote on the 9th of June, and they will be hoping, the governments of Olaf Scholz and Emmanuel Macron, to be able to soften the losses that they might receive from the votes that are going to the far right.
So Ross, help us understand, how Europe chooses its leaders through this election, because I presume that Germany and France have the highest number of seats in the European Parliament. But they don't go, en masse to one particular, they don't go to let's say Macron's party or the party in power in Germany, isn't it? It could go to anyone.
Yeah, Germany, you're right. Germany has the highest number of seats in terms of the members of the European Parliament. France is the second highest based on population as well. And then Italy also has more than 70 MEPs it sends to Brussels. So in terms of the votes, it's very much like a national election. All the parties that would run at national level in France or national level in Germany, like the Socialists or the Christian Democrats or the Alternative for Germany, the other side of the board, and then over here, Emmanuel Macron's Renaissance Party, the Socialists, the Republicans, the far right, all those regular parties are running again and you can vote for them. We do often see the protest vote, the opposition vote, being able to get more attention in the European Union elections. They're falling almost like a United States midterm election in the middle of the French parliamentary term, in the middle of the French presidential term. We don't have a national election or a presidential election on the horizon, and so you can get a chance to, if you are disillusioned with the government, make a protest vote, for example. So we are likely to see the French far right win the election in terms of the greatest number of MEPs to be sent from France to Brussels to work in the European Parliament. However, it's also likely that the centre-right as a whole, all of European Union centre-right parties, will receive hundreds of MEPs. So the greatest number of MEPs in total will be from the centre-right. So it's unlikely that the far-right parties, even though they might have success in sending a lot of MPs, won't send the most number of MEPs. That's usually the centre-right blocs across the European Union who send those to Brussels. So these elections are also a chance for the populations in places like Germany and France to show their disillusionment with the government of the day, but they won't be able to change the government of the day in that particular country, just sending those MEPs to Brussels.
Ross Cullen in Paris, thanks very much.